Okay, this is 10.3, Intermediate Algebra, Part B, the second video. We are ready for the second example there, and they give us 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 equals 0. Now remember what we've got here. We're trying to find out what the determinant is in order to find out what kind of an answer that we're going to get. We're not trying to find an answer, we're just trying to find out what kind of an answer we have. So my A is 2, my B is -3, and my C is the number 4. Okay, so we're just going to plug those numbers in for B squared minus 4AC. Okay, that's all we're doing. Alright, so B is -3, and you know it's -3, so the whole thing is in parentheses, minus 4. And if you put everything in parentheses like this, it'll keep you from having trouble. So 9 minus, that is going to be 8 times 4, or 9 minus 32. All I care about, I don't care what the answer is, all I care about is the answer going to be 0? Is it going to be negative, or is it going to be positive? Well, 9 minus 32 is going to tell me I'm going to get a negative answer, right? That's all I care about. I don't care what the answer is, so I'm going to get a negative answer. So if I look back on page 617 at the bottom of the page, what happens when you get a negative answer? It says you get two complex solutions that contain I. That's all I want for an answer. You find out if this is going to be a plus, a minus, or a 0. Then you look at that table on the bottom of 617, and it will tell you what kind of an answer you're going to get. All right, so let's look at the third option there, and they give us 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 equals 0. So again, you're not solving anything, you're just trying to find out what kind of problem or equation you're going to get, or answer, I guess. So b squared minus 4ac. So negative 12 is your b. 4 times 4 times 9. Okay, 144 minus 16 times 9. Okay, so what is 16 times 9? 16 times 9 is 144. So we get 144 minus 144. That equals 0. So you look back at your table. What do you get when you get 0? You get one rational solution. That's your answer. Alright, let's continue on with these. So these aren't so bad. 4. X squared plus 6x equals 8. I'm going to rewrite that as x squared plus 6x minus 8 equals 0, because it has to be written equal to 0. My A is 1, my B is 6, and my C is -8. Okay, so let's do b squared minus 4ac. So my b squared is going to be 36 minus 4 times 1 times -8. So 36, a negative times a negative is a positive, and that is going to give me 68, or it doesn't really matter as long as it's a positive number. So it's a positive number, which gives me my next question, because whenever you get an answer that's a positive number, you have to ask yourself, can I take the square root of that positive number or not? If I can take the positive square root, that means it's bottom of page 617, it is a positive number that is also a perfect square. Since we can't take the square root of 68, the square root of 64 is 8, but we can't take the square root of 68, there are two rational solutions. Or I'm sorry, if we could take the square root of 68, there would be two rational solutions. Because it is not a perfect square, because we cannot take the square root of it, the answer is two irrational solutions. And that's all I care about. And what I mean by that is your answer is going to have a radical in it. That's what an irrational solution is, an answer with a radical. Alright, so let's jump up to example 5. Okay, so let's look and see what we're looking for here. We are trying to find a number that we can put in here for k, so that if you were to use the quadratic formula here, you would be able to find an answer that has one rational solution. Because notice it says find an appropriate k so that the equation 4x squared minus kx equals negative 9 has exactly one rational solution. So, and if you look back on the bottom of page 617, when do you get an answer that has one rational solution? When b squared minus 4ac equals 0. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this equation and write it in the correct format. Set it equal to 0. So I am looking for a number here, which this is the a, this number that goes here, we've got it written as a k, but it's actually the b, right? The a and the b and the c. Okay, so it's just weird. The b is the k, right? Okay, just like the 4 is the a, the 9 is the c, the k is the b. So we're looking for a number there, so that when we plug it in here, right here, and square it, subtract 4ac from it, we're going to get 0 for an answer. Okay, that is what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and say our a is 4, our b is negative k, sorry, it's just weird, and that is 9. So if we plug it in here, we're going to get b squared, sorry, negative k, that can be so confusing. Okay, so negative k times negative k would be k squared, right? It would turn into a positive because it's a negative times a negative, minus whatever 16 times 9 is. So we're trying to get 0 for an answer, right? Because a 0 for an answer gives me one rational solution according to my table. Then we take the square root of both sides, and k equals plus or minus 12. Okay, so that means that if we took plus or minus 12 and put it in here, we would get 0 for an answer. Because, well, let's just look at it here. Let me erase all this stuff here. Let's try 12. Alright, in red. So if we put 12 in there, and we put the 4 there, and the 9 there, we get 144 minus 144, and that equals 0. And when we get a 0 for an answer, we have one rational solution. So it's kind of a backwards way of doing this. They tell you that they want 0 for an answer, and then they ask you what number we have to put in here in order to get that 0. Okay? So just follow this procedure exactly, because in the homework there are going to be a couple of those. If you look at 13 through 22, they're going to give you some that are exactly like what I just did. I mean, I would go ahead and do another one for you, but it's going to be exactly the same as what I just did. So, well, let's look at 17 real quick, since that one is the same, but what they did, well, no, let's look at 19. They give us kx squared minus 40x equals 25. Let's write it in the correct format. Okay, so this time the number or letter is going to be k. That's A is going to be k, B is going to be negative 40, and C is negative 25. Alright, what do they want? They want one real solution. So if we look back at 617, we need one real solution, so that means we're trying to get that to be equal to 0. So let's do b squared minus 4ac, so we want the determinant to equal to 0, so we get one real solution. So we get negative 40, quantity squared minus 4 times k times negative 25 equals 0. So we're trying to find a number that we can put in there so that when we take this and square it minus all of this, we're going to get 0. So 40 squared is going to be 1600 minus 4, well, actually, let's do this. 4 times 25 is 100, a negative times a negative is a positive, so this is going to be a positive 100 times k equals 0. Let's subtract that from both sides. Divide by 100. And k then has to be negative 100. And, well, no, it's actually going to be negative 16. So when we take negative 16 and plug it in for our A here, and plug our negative 40 in for our B and negative 25 in for our C, we will get 0 for an answer, and that's what they're looking for. Okay, so I am going to stop this video so that we can get into building equations from their solutions. So that's what's weird, is I'm going to give you the answer, and you're going to have to find the equation to the answer. So we're doing the exact opposite of what you're used to.